Hi there, I'm Adrian, and in this video I'm going to show you all 5 shapes of the major pentatonic scale. If you learn all these 5 shapes, get familiar with them, learn how to connect them together, then it will enable you to solo all over the neck using the major pentatonic sound. So let's get started. I'm going to do this in the key of A, and I'm going to start here at the 5th fret on the low E string, and I'm going to play you through what I call pattern 1 of this scale, position 1 of this scale. If you're familiar with the caged system way of seeing the neck of the guitar, this is the E form of the scale. So it fits around this kind of A major bar chord at the 5th fret. But the major pentatonic scale shape goes like this. So starting with that root note, the A there, 5th fret on the low E string, then the 7th fret, then on the next string we've got 4 and 7, then 4 and 7 again, then 4 and 6 on the G string, and then 5 and 7 on the B, 5 and 7 on the high E. With this scale pattern and with all of the shapes I'm going to show you, there are different ways of fingering these things. This is the fingering that I use. I'm kind of starting on my 2nd finger, keeping in position, and then just for the top 2 strings I'm using fingers 1 and 3. That makes sense for me to kind of get into that little box on the top 2 strings and use my strong fingers, because you tend to do a lot of kind of bending and vibrato in that area of the scale, and it just feels good to get onto the stronger fingers at that point. So that's position 1, the E form of the scale. Then next area of the neck, in cage terms, this is the D form of the scale, and that looks like this. We've got so it's still in the key of A. Our lowest available A root note in this pattern is here, the 7th fret on the D string. So I've got 7 and then 9, then I've got 6 and 9 on the G, 7 and 10 on the B, 7 and 9 on the high E. And then you can kind of fill in the notes down below the root, and you've actually got 9 and 7 on the A, and 9 and 7 on the low E as well. But with this scale, with all my scales really, I like to start and finish on the root note. That gets your ear used to hearing this scale with A as the kind of musical centre of gravity. So I think that's a good way to practice these scales. So fingering wise on this one, again, a few ways you can do this. I think I like to start with index and 3rd, and then index, little finger, index, little finger, index, 3rd again on the top. And I think I like to use 1 and 3 for all of those lowest 3 strings. That kind of falls nicely under the fingers there like that. So that's position 2, pattern 2, D form of the scale. On to position 3, and that kind of fits in and around the C shape, the C kind of a bar chord. Those are the root notes there, 12th fret on the A, 10th fret on the B, and the major pentatonic shape goes like this. So there's our root note, our lowest available A note. So that's 12th fret on the A. Then we've got 9 and 11 on the D, 9 and 11 on the G, 10 and 12 on the B, 9 and 12 on the high E. And you can go down below the root. We've got 9th fret on the A, and then 12 and 9 on the low E as well. So again, I will just play that from root, starting and finishing on the root. So fingering wise, a few possibilities here again. I think I tend to start on my little finger, then 1, 3, 1, 3. You can either do 2 and 4 on the B string, or 1 and 3 again, doesn't particularly matter. And then 1 and 3 or 1 and 4 on the top string. Again, with fingerings, it's kind of a personal thing. You need to just experiment and find what you like, and you know, I'll find myself using different fingerings depending on what I'm doing and the situation. You know, how high up the neck I am, how low down I am on the neck. That all kinds of factors come into consideration there. So next position, pattern 4, position 4, kind of fits up here in the 12th position. In cage terms, this is the A form of the scale. Fits around that little A bar chord shape. The scale goes like this. So starting 12th fret on the A, it's 12, 14, 11, 14, 11, 14, 12, 14, and 12, 14. And you can also play 14 and 12 on the low E string as well. Again, fingering wise, probably 1, 3 for me, then 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. Makes sense to kind of get onto my strongest fingers where I can, really. It's just the strongest fingers for bending and vibrato and that kind of thing. So that's the A form, position 4 of the scale. Last shape, we're sort of getting quite high up the neck here. This is kind of the G form of the scale in cage terms. It's kind of framed around that rather kind of awkward to play G bar chord, but you don't need to play that entire chord shape, I don't think. Scale pattern goes like this. So here I'm at the 17th fret on the low E, that's our root. Then we've got 14 to 16 on the A, same thing on the D, same thing on the G, then 14 to 17 on the B, 14 to 17 on the high E. You also got the low F sharp there, 14th fret on the low E, available to you as well. So that's our 5th position, the G form, and this is, you know, likely to be the fingering that is most familiar to you, I think, because it's the most commonly used minor pentatonic scale position. So this is something I've spoken about before, that you'll notice that all of these major pentatonic shapes share their fingerings with the relative minor pentatonic shapes, which is a little bit confusing and hard to get your head around to start with, but after it's kind of clicked, it's actually a really useful concept. So each of these major pentatonic scales is also a minor pentatonic scale, and this is why I'm sort of drumming into you this sort of concept of starting and finishing on the root note, because as we're playing these major pentatonics now, we're hearing that A note as our root note. All of these fingering patterns, all of these notes also happen to be the F sharp minor pentatonic scale, but there the root note will change. The musical centre of gravity will have changed. So although all of the fingering shapes are the same, the actual root notes are different. So that is why I kind of strongly recommend learning these major pentatonic scales as kind of scales in their own right. You know, memorizing these fingerings, playing them from root to root, knowing where those root notes are. That will be the most useful thing to you practically when you're using these scales. If you think only in terms of the minor pentatonic scale, then you have to kind of do this mental calculation every time you want to play the major pentatonic. You go, right, I want A major pentatonic. A major pentatonic is the F sharp minor pentatonic, and it's impossible to do that when you're actually trying to take a solo or you're on the gig or something. It's much better just to have these major pentatonic scales right there under your fingers straight away. So that's why I recommend kind of going through this drill, learning all these scales, playing from root to root, really getting familiar with them. So that's about it for this lesson. I'm going to put sort of some supporting material up on my website, all the scale diagrams and that kind of thing. So you might want to check that out. Hope you found this lesson useful, and I hope to see you again for some more lessons very soon. Bye bye.